All right. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Perfect. How you doing this morning, Trent?
I'm all right.
It's according to local folklore here in San Antonio, I believe it's been since the early 90s since your band has been here. So
Is that right?
I believe so. I moved here in 95, and I know you haven't been here since then. And mostly you've played Austin. So
Well, we're long overdue then.
long overdue. Looking forward to the show here on Sunday. Right, first question right off the bat. Now, how has the band, you and the band, reinterpreted or reinvented some of the older songs to keep them fresh in concert for 2005?
You know, it's been a long gap of time between the last time we went out touring, which was 2000. And I'd taken some time off, and when I got around to finishing this new album with Teeth, I did the record myself, and then I wanted to put a band together that was primarily made to play the new material, which sounds different to me than the older stuff. And I got a band that I thought was the right band to do that, and we first learned all the new material, and then cautiously kind of went back and picked out songs that we collectively liked from the catalog and started to see how they would feel. Because my main concern was that I wanted everything to feel still feel important and relevant to me, and I never want to feel like I'm just going through the motions on stage. And now that the band's been around for a while and the catalog's a bit bigger and time has passed, you know, I was cautious about going back to the old stuff, but the show that we're going to play is a pretty good sampling of stuff from all the records, and I just think it's pretty fortunate that it worked out that way. But when we started rehearsing, we were all looking at each other like, wow, this sounds pretty cool, you know. And so I think things are toughened up a bit. Everything feels like a band playing it. You know, a lot of the records have been made with just me in the studio with computers and that, but it's a good, visceral, sweaty, loud rock band.
That's what we love, loud rock and roll down here in Texas. Now, when y'all were rehearsing some of that older material, were there some band members that wanted to perform certain songs that you, like, I never would have even thought about playing that?
Yeah, some things came up, and I mean, some songs, I'll give you an example. The band was trying to play Perfect Drug, which is a song we did for the Lost Highway soundtrack. I forget when it was, but it wasn't that long ago. But that song was just an experiment in layers and drum machines and things like that. And the band really isn't, we made it through it, but it sounded like round peg in a square hole kind of thing. Because this band is more about playing live and making it exciting. And the idea of trying to replicate the sound of 20 drum machines on stage isn't appealing to me. So, I mean, it may come out in the future, but that's an example of something that it really wasn't designed to do that, so we're sticking with what feels the most natural.
Okay. All right. That kind of leads me to this next question. This is just kind of a curiosity question. Name me one or two songs, Nine Inch Nails songs, that you have never played live for whatever reason.
Single off the last album, The Fragile, the single was Wearing Us Together, and a lot of people ask me why we've never played that live, and the reason is two reasons. One is practical. It's the hardest song to sing I've ever recorded, and I'm not sure what I was thinking in the studio. Let me make a song where it just sits on the very highest note that I can possibly sing. You know? And the other reason is that song, although I like it now, was such an unbelievable struggle to record to get it right. I think we spent 3 weeks mixing that song, not recording, just mixing it. And Alan Mulder, who works with me a lot, and we were just looking at each other like, oh, I think we're both losing our minds. It just fought us to the very end to get that right. So I was pissed off at it for a long time. And, you know, again, no one out in the real world knows that. And it doesn't matter, but it's just one of those things that when I see that song, possibility of playing it come up, it's just, ugh.
Well, it's very interesting because that is one of the songs we do continue to play here, and it's kind of an interesting fact because I'm sure that's what fans would be asking. Why wouldn't they play that song? But
well, and you raise an interesting point, and here's something that should be mentioned. The way I've approached recording all these records, because the band's really, it started as just me and pretty much is just me when it comes to the recording and writing process. And I've treated the studio as an instrument, not as a way to capture the sound of a band playing, because I never really had a band. The role of the band comes in later when the record's finished. I'll get some people that I think are the best people that can help me articulate the music live. But Point being, when I'm in the studio, I really try to utilize the tools I have there, and I just treat it like an instrument. I just try to make something that sounds the most interesting thing that I can make, that frames the song and the emotional context of the music. And then when we approach it live, the strategy that I kind of luckily stumbled into way back when we started out was, rather than try to totally recreate that live, let's do what's best for the live environment, and found that a lot of the music can survive a kind of transition from some well-thought-out studio arrangement into a kind of bombastic, much more aggressive, visceral live thing. So some songs naturally don't make the jump. They don't seem to work as well. But most take on a new kind of try a new outfit on, and it feels good to play that way. And I think it's more rewarding to the audience because they come out and leave with a kind of punched-in-the-face look of, wow.
That's
Instead
cool.
of a beard scratching, wow, that sounded just like the record. If you like the record, listen to the record.
Well, when you were writing Songs for With Teeth, did you take into account translating the stuff live, or did you just go with, the studio is another instrument?
It was in the back of my mind as I was writing that I thought these might make the transition a little easier, because the strategy of the new record with Teeth was I went into it wanting to make a record that was kind of the antithesis of the last album, The Fragile. The Fragile was layered, 2 hours of music. Everything kind of flowed into the next thing. It was very soundtrack sounding, a lot of instrumentals. And this record I wanted to make a kind of lean, stripped down, only the parts that needed to be there, minimalist approach. I wanted to use real drums. I wanted everything to be performed. I didn't want to correct anything on the computer and tune and chop and replace stuff. And I wanted to feel a bit more organic. So I felt it would translate. It'd be easier to translate it to live. But that, again, it was when I'm in the studio. It's just I want to make what I think sounds the greatest. And I rarely consider, am I shooting myself in the foot when it comes time to play it live?
Okay. All right. In preparing for this interview, I asked a bunch of our listeners to email me questions, and the overwhelming thing that came up, even though I know you've addressed this in the past, is tapeworm. For the listeners that just do not know about the Tapeworm Project, could you give them a little detail about what happened to it?
Maybe I should just put it out. I'm tired of hearing about it. No, I took a few years off from 2001 to about 2003, and in that time I was tinkering around with some other things and had made friends with Maynard from Tool, and 4 of us decided to kind of start a democratic band in which we'd just see what happened, and we were fitting it in around what everyone else was doing, and he was touring at the time. And we worked on a number of tracks, and I considered embellishing the story to make it sound more romantic, but the reality of it is, which is what I've told people, is it just wasn't that good. And I think it's because it was a democracy, and it wasn't one way and it wasn't the other way, and it kind of slid down the middle into something that just wasn't up to what I thought it needed to be. If it's going to be a minds behind Tool and Nine Inch Nails coming together to make something, it's got to be amazing. And it kind of felt like, it's just kind of, it's all right. And I would never put anything out that I thought was just all right.
Okay.
So, Maynard and I'm sure that we will work on something in the future that will be spectacular. And he's a great friend and the best rock vocalist out there.
There you go. I'm just going to play that sound bite for 1,000 times so people will finally understand. One last question for you because my time is running out. What is your personal pre-show ritual? What do you have to do?
It's a little different than it was a few years ago.
Okay. Just give me a couple of things. One thing that you have to do. Superstition.
No, it's fairly boring, to be honest with you. I take a lot better care of myself now than I used to, and I'm just trying to warm up my voice. And I exercise a little bit. I'd like to say it involved sheep's blood and sacrifices, but that was then. This is now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, as we started the interview, it's been many years since you and your band have been here, and we're looking forward to seeing Nine Inch Nails in San Antonio, Texas, on this coming Sunday.
We're very much looking forward to playing. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, Trent, for your time today, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.
Outside the boundaries of their phony world of kicks is the ever-present possibility of discovery. This must be avoided at all costs. For discovery brings with it the penalties of society. Shame, arrest, prison. Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville.